I started out coaching freshman basketball at Reedland, and so that was my first experience, which was, I was just finishing up college, so I wasn't much older than the kids I was coaching.
I started coaching about, I guess it was almost 10 years ago at Lone Oak High School, and actually started coaching girls basketball before I started teaching.
The McCracken County school system had a history of athletic success within their 3 high schools. Lone Oak, Heath, and Reedland high schools had case upon glass case full of trophies in every sport. But the trophies each school valued the most were the ones that came from the defeat of their rival. And in a school district with 3 separate high schools, rivalry came easy, especially when it came to the sport of basketball.
And there was always that in-district rival between Reedland, Heath, and Lone Oak. Yeah, it was just that deal where, you know, you just had a chip on your shoulder when you played the other team. That was your crosstown rivals.
I spent 2 years at Carlisle County before I got hired at Heath. They're pretty intense. I remember even as an assistant coach, I remember a couple of the big games, especially, I mean, it was standing room only. I believe one year we had actually a fire marshal. Basically, it was locked out. If you didn't already have a ticket, you couldn't get in.
The rivalries between the Heath Pirates, the Lone Oak Purple Flash, and the Reedland Greyhounds knew very few bounds. Passed down through generations, decades in the making, when basketball games between these teams occurred, the bleachers were filled.
Well, growing up, you know, all my life I went to a lot of Lone Oak basketball games, especially through elementary and middle school games, so I was always aware of the fact that between the district, between Reedland, Heath, and Lone Oak, there was always a rivalry.
But with Reedland, Heath, and Lone Oak, it was just within the district to try and prove who's the best within our district and within McCracken County. So, I mean, it was fun, you know, whenever they would play games against each other, which there was always going to be a team that was better than the other. But, you know, it was always interesting because that rivalry goes way back to, you know, the start of those schools. And so, you know, that's kind of how it was back then.
It was always heated, man, always heated. And so it was always a close game, always. It seemed like I can never remember a blowout.
But as time passed and the communities grew, the high schools began to grow overcrowded. Landlocked and with very few options, the schools became too small to house the large number of students that attended each high school. The idea of a consolidated high school had always been mentioned and in some years even discussed at monthly board meetings, but very few ever believed that the 3 high schools could ever come together as one, united. After years of consideration and exhausting all other possibilities, the McCracken County School Board voted to consolidate the 3 existing high schools, creating McCracken County High School.
I had to sort of sell the idea to the communities, and standing up in front of a crowd full of people that didn't like the idea and trying to convince them that it was a good idea made me extremely nervous.
Well, I remember when we talked about it, I mean, you know, it was kind of a mixed emotion. You know, you think, well, it's going to be great, big school, but you also got to think too, you know, what if you know, my days may be numbered as a coach. So, I mean, I was kind of in the same boat the kids were.
There was a lot of resentment from all 3 communities. There was always those factions. There was people that supported it, there was people against it. But once it was definite and it was a go, you know, I got on board with it.
I would like to introduce the first principal of McCracken County High School, the Chief Mustang Wrangler, Michael Skalinsky.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank you for coming out today. Most importantly, I want to welcome you to McCracken County High School.
The new McCracken County High School held its first day of class last week.
So this is just one example, and we have other classrooms that look like this throughout the school. So I just wanted everybody to get a feel that you're not necessarily confined to that space, that you do get to come over here and take other classes with other kids.
Oh yeah, so I can remember the first day like it was yesterday. Walked in, they were leading us all to the gym, and it was crowded, packed with students, and they gave out free t-shirts.
It's probably the most incredible day professionally I've ever had, and so I can just remember just kids coming in, their parents dropping them off in the front circle and coming off the buses, and everybody going into the gym like we always do the first day of school and having a big sort of celebration pep rally.
The first day, like the first week, was really interesting. It was really neat. Like everyone there, like freshmen, sophomore, juniors, and seniors, like had no clue what was going on.
I was kind of in the same boat as everyone. Like everyone was kind of running around trying to figure out what it was. So it wasn't like just the freshmen who were like scrambling to figure out kind of their way. So it was kind of nice, but oh, it was so hectic. I wasn't sure if I was excited or nervous or just whatever it was, but it was good. It was a good kind of hectic.
And so, on August 9th of 2013, the Lonoke Purple Flash, the Heath Pirates, and the Reedland Greyhounds became the McCracken County Mustangs.
You put all the best kids that are going to make up, you know, your athletic teams, and I always felt like number one, it's going to be a huge school. It's going to be one of those deals where you're going to see just kids having a lot of success.
It was unbelievable. There were so many people here, and it was just a crazy experience because it didn't feel like high school at all. It didn't feel like a high school atmosphere.
I think it's easier with girls.
Sometimes you have to change with your environment, and I think change is tough. Change in life is tough. The first year at this school, I think you saw 3 schools that came together as one.
Not only the girls' teams play well, but as well as the boys' team and what they were able to accomplish.
Some of the guys had been successful. I mean, they had won a district tournament, or some of them had won the All-A regional. But I don't think they'd ever won it on a big scale. We played a lot that summer, and we got really, I think towards the end of it, I got very nervous. We couldn't guard. We wasn't defending well. We didn't move the ball well.
Before the school year even started, we were with each other with summer workouts and all those kind of things. So I think just it started with those seniors and the leadership that they showed.
You saw 10, 11, 12 guys that really joined together as a family.
And the first home game I remember was here against Marshall, and it was unbelievable.
Our student section had a great idea. What we did was we wore our Heath, Lonoke, and Reedland shirts to the game, or like whatever high school we went to.
So you had kids showing up in purple and gold, and some in red, and some in black and gold. And so they all showed up in the student section dressed in their former school's colors, and then they rolled out a banner. When they started jumping in underneath it and they busted that banner, they were all in Mustang gear. And so I think that was a real pivotal moment for the kids to say to the community, we're together.
It was now in the hands of the students, athletes, and faculty of the new high school to overcome the decades of rivalries instilled within the communities. As the inaugural year progressed and the basketball season arrived, students began to shed the rivalries of old and instead embrace the unity of standing together as McCracken County Mustangs.
Well, I remember the district tournament being here and the championship game going to overtime, and it was a great game, a great atmosphere. That was, and I think the kids enjoyed it. I think they had a blast. I remember different people saying they had a lot of fun in the stands, in the cheering section.
And as a team, they would win the 2nd district title. No one expected a consolidated McCracken County High School to win the title, but what came next, even fewer expected.
When Cam Chumler hit the shot, you know, that won the regional tournament, that's a favorite memory of mine.
You know, the regional championship, plus just being at Murray State, it was a cool experience for us, and I think that it's something that we'll all remember for the rest of our lives.
Many dismiss the district title as luck, merely a win from adrenaline, possibly even a weak district caused by the consolidation of 3 schools. But what the critics could not deny was the region championship won that same year by a McCracken team a week later, pushing them even further into the spotlight with a chance to win a state title.
And that was just icing on the cake. To be able to go to state as a school to the state tournament was just incredible. And that would say the basketball team, out of all the sports, I would say that team really brought us together as a school.
I think the big thing about winning the regional tournament and beating the teams we beat, we could finally say, not as players, but even as fans, is, no, we're as good as anybody.
Like us being able to go to Lexington and support them, it was just like we all came together like as one to support our team at McCracken.
What are you thinking? This is crazy, unreal. What do you think?
State champs right here.
State champs.
State champs.
It was just something so great about being a new school and going to state like that first year, like that. You can't beat that. That's amazing.
That's just an experience that not a lot of people get to go through.
When we got to the state tournament, we had to play Wayne County, and Wayne was like number 3 in the state at that time. They were 31-1. The director of pupil personnel called me, and he said, and it was probably 6 o'clock in the morning or whatever. He called me and said, "Well, we want to let you know there's 5 busloads of kids headed towards Lexington right now." I know they had loaded up 5 school buses up of PEP kids, and I remember walking out on the Rupp Arena and looking on the end zone towards the end of Rupp Arena, and that whole end zone was just full of nothing but crimson and black and white. So, yeah, I think the kids really got behind us as we went.
Just seeing Heath, Lonoke, and Reedland students together in a student section cheering on players that they booed against, the past year was really a great representation of how our community and our school really came together that year.
McCracken won the first game at state against Wayne County in Rupp Arena, but lost the second in a close game against Bowling Green. It was McCracken County's first year, and led by Jared Burnett, Bryce Rogers, and Cam Chumbler, the team had an amazing season.
I thought Bryce and Jason, Bryce Rogers especially, came from Heath. He was really a team-oriented person. Jared Burnett was, from day one, he just said he wanted to win. And Cam was the leader from Lonoke, and ended up really being our overall leader for all McCracken. I think him and Bryce and Jared became such close friends that, and it really wasn't meant for me one from each school. It just happened to be that way.
Cam was a great dude, man. He wasn't a real flashy kind of guy.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to say about him, positive, just off the floor, on the floor. He's a big reason that the program's as successful as it is.
Due to a tragic accident, Cam Chumbler passed away on May 12, 2015. Through this tragedy, the team was able to come together even stronger.
I think his legacy is something that won't be, forgotten, obviously. We have so many, good memories as far as on the court and off the court and everything, but I think it really brought everyone closer together too.
If we'd have come out and laid a goose egg, there'd have been a lot of fingers pointed at a lot of different players and coaches and all that, There have been all the naysayers would have won the argument about consolidation.
I don't know, man. It was like we caught lightning in a bottle, and it was like all the kids here had something to prove because they had heard for so long that this couldn't work. And so, man, it was sort of us against the world, and I think that mindset sort of brought everybody together.
Today, McCracken's team is just as strong as their first year and are currently on their way to a regional title. Though they came from different schools, McCracken County is its own school, united.